Hey, if this is your first time, I'm Kyle.
And I'm Michelle, and we're the Wandering Shores.
So today's a big day. Today is Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. Why is it important? It's exactly 1 year ago today that we left for our adventure of being RV nomads. And we thought, what better than to maybe recap what it's been like over the last 365 days. And in doing so, we're going to do this the same way that we did our very first video. So for those of you who followed along, it was unedited. We didn't cut. We didn't do anything. I put a few graphics in it, but that was about it. That's the way we're going to do this video. So I have no idea how long it's going to be. Yeah. What we are going to do is we've got a list of favorites that we've written on a piece of paper, and we're going to go through. Now, we haven't talked to each other about our answers, so I have no idea what Michelle's going to say.
No way. It's kind of like the Newlywed Game.
And I have my list here. So we're going to go through it and see how many of our likes and dislikes, well, mostly likes, are the same or different. So, item number one. Michelle, what is it?
Item number one, you guys wanted to know what our favorite campsite was.
Yeah. First of all, thanks to all of you guys who have reached out to us and suggested some questions that we could answer today. That was extremely helpful. And one of the questions that we got a couple different times was our favorite campsite. And so what I suggested that Michelle and I do is we pick one that we actually paid for and one that was a boondocking of free site. So that's what we've done. Michelle, why don't you kick this one off?
Okay. The boondocking site that I liked was in southern Arizona. And it was called Indian Bread Rocks, and it was on BLM land. And I liked it because that was the place where almost nightly the cows would come by with their calves and just make their way down the road. Like, you know, it was pretty neat and not something you see every day. And it was way off the road.
Yeah, that's we've done a lot of boondocking, folks. For those of you who've been following, we've done probably 90% boondocking. So we've been a lot of different locations across this country. We boondocked in the very early stages in Ohio, all the way down to Florida, and then across the southern states through Texas and New Mexico, Arizona, up to Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, yeah. Washington now, which is where we're at here on September 8th. So,
and really, who would have thought that there's so many free places to camp? I would have never imagined. I mean, there are tons of places.
So my favorite campsite, boondocking, checking my list, Indian Bread Rocks. It's actually the exact same one. So, I think the thing that made that extra special is we were there with some really close friends that we had made on the road, James, Andy, and Carmen. And so we got to experience that all together. We got to climb the rocks, go up to the top of the mountain, took some pictures that, looked like we had a drone, even though we don't. And, it was a great experience. We were only there for maybe 3 or 4 days, probably. But it was just a gorgeous place. So I don't know that we've actually done a video on that. I don't think we took much video while we were there. Yeah, we had some still photos that we have that we may update at some time in the future when we do a recap of the things that you guys haven't seen before. So, all right, best paid campground.
On my list, I have Curry Hammock State Park, and that is on Marathon Key. And that we were only supposed to be there 2 nights, yeah. And he was so good at asking if there were any cancellations, and we were able to stay an extra 2 nights because of a cancellation. But we were like right on the water. We just had to walk down one of the loops on the campsite we were staying at, and it takes you right to the water. I loved it.
Yeah, we were probably literally our campsite, both campsites were probably like 50 feet from the water. So that was a gorgeous campsite. Mm-hmm. We got really lucky, and if you guys ever go down to the Keys, any of the state parks are absolutely gorgeous, and they're like $35 a night versus $200 a night at some of the other RV parks. So my favorite paid campsite, Curry Hammock State Park. So we've already told you about that. So far on favorite campsites, we both had the same. This time I'm going first. Favorite hike. All right. My favorite hike, we've done a lot of hikes, and this was hard to pick, but I picked Wire Pass to Buckskin Gulch. It's a slot canyon in northern Arizona. It's right near the town of Page, Arizona. Absolutely gorgeous. We met a great brother and sister along that hike. So, you know, it's an amazing hike, and that was probably my favorite hike. It was pretty easy as far as elevation, but just absolutely gorgeous. Michelle, what about yours? Favorite hike?
Mine is Angel's Landing.
Yeah.
I never would have imagined that I would be saying that, but it really was. During the hike, I mean, it's you would think it would be super scary, but it's not, because you're really watching where you're going. But looking back, I can't believe we did it.
Yeah, we did a video on that. So if you guys haven't checked that one out, you know, you can hear me heavy breathing for about, 5 or 6 miles. It was scary, but absolutely amazing. And that's up there for me as well. But Wire Pass beat it out just a little bit with the slot canyons. All right, favorite national park. Michelle, you go first on this one.
Okay, favorite national park. I'm going to have to pick Mount Rainier. I really, really like it here. I don't know if it's just that...
We're actually here right now.
Yeah, we are. If it's just that view of Mount Rainier, but it's breathtaking. There's so much greenery, and it varies so much. You've got the moss, you've got the wildflowers, you've got the tall trees. It's just gorgeous, and I've really liked the drives we've taken to get to the hiking trails and the visitor center. So that was mine.
Mine will be one that we did two videos on, if I'm not mistaken. Big Bend in Texas. It was really a surprise. I wasn't sure what to expect going down there. I knew it was a national park. I mean, after some research, I found out it was a national park. Didn't really ever hear about it. But yeah, we ended up spending like 4 or 5 days in the park. In part because we got trapped down there, and there were some bad windstorms towards Carlsbad Caverns where we were heading. So we stayed down there. Just there's a little everything down there. Absolutely gorgeous. It's just a huge park, and that makes it very time consuming to get around sometimes. But yeah, it's a beautiful park, and I'm gonna go right now with Big Bend as being my favorite national park. Favorite kayaking.
You want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay, favorite kayaking. I am picking Horseshoe Bend. That was amazing, and it was amazing for lots of reasons. For one, we were camped just not even a mile away from where we took, where a boat took us around the bend, and then we kayaked back. And so it was easy to get there, just a short drive. And it was a 10 mile, 5
yeah,
mile?
10
mile kayak back to where we started. And what's nice about it is there was really no timeline for us to get back, so we were able to take our time and really take in the scenery and stop, for a snack break. So for sure, that one, Horseshoe Bend.
We did a video on that one as well, so I'll put the link in the information below. Mine, to my surprise, actually, that was up there, but almost dying makes a kayaking trip memorable. So mine would be kayaking down the Whilachoochee in an inflatable kayak by myself, getting completely lost, hiking through the woods to get back, ending up on somebody's private property, almost dying because of the alligators. So although in hindsight it was really stupid of me to do, it was scary, but I had a blast and loved it. And for those of you guys who have seen the video, it made for some pretty good video as well. So next, favorite town. I'll go first. There's 2 pronunciations for this town. It's Prescott, is the way I've always said it in my entire life. Prescott, Arizona. But apparently it's called Prescott. The locals call it Prescott. I actually heard just the other day that the reason for that is there was a guy, I believe, by the name of John Prescott, who the town was going to be named after, and he didn't show up for the naming, so to kind of, in spite of him, they pronounced it differently just to kind of always give him a reminder for his failed showing up at the naming ceremony. So Prescott, Arizona. We stayed in the National Forest just north of there. That little town is beautiful. It had a lot of amenities that you would want when you're on the road, from shopping and a gym and very reasonable propane prices, things that are important to RVers. So, Michelle, favorite town?
My favorite town, I chose Leavenworth, Washington, because Leavenworth has a Bavarian style town, and it was just different. What I liked most about it, we didn't spend as much time there as I would have liked, but our main goal was to go and see it, get something to eat, and get some ice cream. And we were able to do all that, so I was happy. But there were so many food choices there, and of course it's all German inspired. I didn't partake in any of the German food. I stuck with like burger and fries, and of course the ice cream. So, but it's a cute town, and
I ate schnitzel.
It gets so many visitors. They were busy when we were there.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous town if you ever get a chance. And there's a great boondocking spot that we just left, a week ago up near Lake Wenatchee there. So, yeah, it's a beautiful town. So, next, favorite experience. Michelle, you go first.
Okay, this takes us way back to last October. We spent the last 2 weeks in October at a buddy of his. He has a horse farm, Brett and Sig.
Hi, guys.
We had the best time. They hosted us there. We parked our rig in their driveway and got to learn about all things taking care of horses, feeding horses, grooming horses, and got to even ride on a horse. Nothing fancy, just taking it from one direction, left, or taking it right, taking it forward, turning it around. But we had a blast, and Brett and Sig treated us like family, so it was a really, really good 2 weeks there.
Yep. Favorite experience for me happened like a month ago. For those of you who probably saw one of our more recent videos, we had the opportunity to have my brother and his wife and my niece fly out from Cleveland and meet myself and Michelle and my parents out in Port Angeles, Washington. We went out and explored Olypmic National Park, Port Angeles area. That was a blast. Then we got a chance to go over to Bellingham, Washington, where my aunts and uncles and cousins all live. And then we got a chance to do a huge kind of family reunion, impromptu family reunion at a state park there in northern Washington. So that was probably my favorite experience up to this point. Though the time with Brett and Sig is actually later on in my list for something else. So, all right, favorite state. Michelle, you go first.
On my list, I put Florida, and the reason is because it was so shocking to me that I really enjoyed being there. And we were there during the winter months and went to the different land management areas where you could stay for free. But, our experiences there were so different. And Florida holds a special place in my heart because that's where we met our first friends on the road. And again, that was James and Andy and Carmen. Because when I hit the road, when we hit the road, I honestly could not imagine meeting people that I thought could become lifelong friends. And we did. We did right there in Florida. So,
favorite state? Focus.
Yeah, favorite state, Florida.
Favorite state for me, to my surprise, is also Florida. When we left the road in September of last year, I had no intention on even going to Florida. I'd been to Florida a couple times for different events over my life, spring break in college and a work conference and things like that. But I didn't think we would go down there. But once it started getting cold and we were in Georgia around Thanksgiving, we wanted to get towards warmer climate, ended up in Florida. And then we ended up there for like 3 months. Had a great time. A lot of free camping down there. So for those of you who are, thinking about going down to Florida, let us know. We can give you all the ins and outs. We know pretty much all the water management areas and the campgrounds that are available through there for free, and we can kind of direct you to the best ones. So yeah, Florida for me as well. And there's been a couple other. New Mexico was a big surprise. Love New Mexico, but Florida right now is going to rank number 1 for me. So biggest surprise, Michelle?
The biggest surprise for me is I thought once we hit the road that I would be bored out of my mind. But I'm actually not. I don't think there's been a day where I've said, oh my gosh, I'm so bored. Because there's always something I can do. The work on the side that we do, exploring the campsite that we're at, seeing what's around, driving into town, going on our little excursions, our hikes. But that's been the most surprising for me, is that I'm not bored. Our days are full.
Yeah, biggest surprise for me kind of goes back to some of the things Michelle's already talked about, and that's really the people that we've met on the road. It gave us a chance when we were at Brett and Sig's place to reconnect with my with my college roommate. That was fantastic. We got to stay, there for 2 weeks. Then we headed down to North Carolina, and we got to stay with Levi and Megan down there, who the hospitality was fantastic. I'm going to forget some people. I apologize, but, just a shout out to some of you guys that we've met along the road. We've talked about James, Andy, and Carmen. We met Pauline and Daniel, who we're probably going to hopefully meet up with here with Lovey's land yacht pretty soon. We've got the RV Vikings. We've got the Flying Hens. We got Bacon's on the road, who we just hung out with a week and a half ago. The Unrouted, we just actually ran into and talked to today. It turns out that we had been talking for like 3 months on Instagram, and they were here in this free campsite that we're in near Mount Rainier. So that was fantastic. And then Whitney
and Linda.
Can't
forget about those
down
ladies.
in Texas. We met up with them, and we hung out with them and traveled with them for several months, and we're hoping to kind of reconnect with them in the very near future. A lot of these folks, I can tell already are going to be lifelong friends, and that was really the kind of the biggest surprise. I knew I'd miss all my friends back in Indiana and Ohio, but and I still do, but we've met a lot of amazing people on the road, and that's really kind of been the biggest surprise. And there's still more to come. I know. Oh, don't forget Frank and Lynn.
And
sorry,
Aries,
guys.
and their dog Aries.
Oh yeah, and Aries, yes.
Lou.
Oh, Lou and Melody, yes,
right.
yeah. So
and their dog Milo.
And Milo. We're gonna forget people, I'm sure. We've met a lot of people. It's been a surprise, but it's been fantastic, and I can tell you we're going to be in contact with these people forever and ever and ever. Next item is not a favorite, but it's the top RV item or top RV upgrade we've done. Michelle, you go first.
Yes, mine is a shoe rack. I mean, it's not very extravagant, but it's the shoe rack that we keep right by the door. So I'll get him to insert a photo to show you guys. But as soon as you walk in, I mean, we keep our shoes on when we come in the rig, but when we want to put them somewhere, they don't have to stay on the floor to the side. Just put them in that little shoe rack.
Yeah, for me it was a close tie, but I ended up breaking the tie. I'm going to go with composting toilet. The composting toilet, super exciting. To poop in a bucket and churn it. But it is the reality of a composting toilet. But I can tell you this, it's allowed us to stay out boondocking much, much longer. Yes. The longest we've done so far, 16 straight days. I think even then we probably could have gone 20. Now that we've become accustomed to management of water and things like that. But yeah, the composting toilet is probably my favorite upgrade. But solar was a quick second, but we've only had that for a month. But I can already tell you that it's going to make our generator use and our ability to kind of generate our own power so much easier. So last but not least, the opposite direction. One thing that we miss most from our sticks and bricks or living back in Indiana. Michelle?
Okay, the one thing I miss the most are long showers. long showers, and even an occasional bath. Yeah, just being able to just waste time in the shower. That's what I miss the most, because that was my way of pampering myself. I mean, we can still shower in our rig. They're just short showers, and we do have hot water, but they're just pretty short because we want to conserve the water that we do have.
Yeah, I think the thing we miss most, for me, doesn't have anything to do with the physical house. I mean, I loved our tiny house, our cabin there on the lake. I miss the people back there probably more, though. I think, the relationships that we've had with family and friends over the years, the nice thing is we're still in contact with a lot of them on a regular basis. So it's not like we've fallen off the end of the earth, even though we've, moved around for the last 365 days. So I think for me, the thing I miss most is my friends. At some capacity, a lot of those friends are work related, are gym related, are tennis related, are high school related. All of those things, I think. So it's the people that we still have back in Indiana and Ohio that I miss the most. That and longer showers would be nice. One of the things that's a little bit more difficult, we're running into it right now, is finding a place to throw out your trash sometimes. It's not as easy to find places to throw out the trash as it was when we were living in a house where we just put it in a garbage can and push it out to the street every week. So, so that's our top 10 list, I guess, if you want to call it that. We are excited to kind of get to the brunt of what's going to happen from this point forward is a whole lot of the same. We're not, when we hit the road back in September of 2020, I don't think, we kind of told ourselves we'll give it a two to 3 years. Now that we're out here, now that we're experiencing it, even though we've had some setbacks with having to get new air conditioner, new axles on the trailer. I mean, different things have broken over the last year, but we're managing, and it's a blast, and I don't see us ending this anytime soon. No. We're heading tomorrow down to Oregon. We're going to be in Oregon for probably about 2 months. We're hoping to then go to California, but with the fact that we like to boondock, all the national forests are currently closed. We're hoping that, obviously, first and foremost, they get the fires under control for everybody's, safety. That's typically where we boondock. So we may have to circumvent the system, but I'm thinking we're still going to get down to California for a while. We've got a lot of friends that we want to meet up with down there. We've got probably 5 or 6 different people or pairs, couples that we know now in California that we're going to visit while we're there. And then we're going to spend the winter in Arizona. Not too far from my parents where they're at in Yuma. We're going to go to the snowbird capital of the world, probably in Quartzsite, Arizona, and spend several months kind of stationary, which will be a little bit different for us. But we're pretty excited. But yeah, we're not coming off the road anytime soon. No. We're enjoying it. The cats are all doing well. They're great travelers now.
They are.
They just lay down in the back seat. Michelle's still riding in the back seat.
I do. Every trip we go on, recently I've told Kyle, I'll probably come up to the front seat once we start, and then I never do.
Yeah. So, everything's going well. We appreciate you guys listening to us yammer on for about 23 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, and if you have any comments for us, just, leave them in the comment box. We check it all the time. We'll reply back. And be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so whenever we release an episode.
Yeah, if you've been following us for a while and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. It really helps us out. It helps push us out to other people to see our videos there on YouTube as well. I think we're almost, knock on wood, maybe by the end of September here, we're going to hit 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 followers on Instagram, and we're at about 390 subscribers on YouTube. So we're growing. So it's fantastic, and we enjoy doing these videos. Mm-hmm. Shout out again to all the folks, all my staff there at Liberty Healthcare and the district coordinators who got me this GoPro as a going away gift, who kind of then therefore convinced us to do YouTube, since we'd never intended on doing it. So Thanks, everyone.
Yes,
Miss you
thank
guys.
you.
Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please comment below. Thanks.